Human.
Hi, my name is Robert. What I'm going to show you is very real. I'm a very honest, down-to-earth person who happened to stumble upon an image that can be reversed. Reversed as I'm taking an image that NASA has photoshopped and bringing it back to some of its originality. I know when you hear the word Photoshop in photos and when it concerns manipulation, you wonder if it's real or not. I understand it's good to be skeptic, and I hope you're all skeptics in your own way. You know, it took me 2 or 3 weeks to try to figure out how to present this, and then I thought, well, I got 500 or 600 images, and then I feel good about it. I mean, I got a lot of ones that are identical and so on, so I'm going ahead and going with it. The reason why I'm doing this is because, hey man, we need to be told. Maybe our children don't need to be told until they can understand life a bit better, but I'm tired of being lied to, and I hope you are. And I also hope this video can open up some of the closed minds that need a jump start. What I need to do first is show you how the images are brought forth. So the first few minutes might bore you. Bear with me. I'm trying to make this as short as possible. I have a short attention span too. I'm not a professional Photoshopper by any means. You'll see that when you view them. Please don't skip the first few minutes, as it's very important to see how the images are brought forth. If you have Photoshop and you know Photoshop, go to the link below the video here on YouTube and download the image and do it yourself if you disbelieve me. It's all there. It keeps coming back time and time again, and I just have so many things to show you guys. If there is an honest professional Photoshopper out there that views this and takes initiative to map the whole back of the moon, man, that would just be great, because it really needs to be done. Well, okay, on to it. Okay, this is original image that was taken off the internet. The link is on the right hand side, plus it'll be under the video on YouTube. This is the far side of the moon, photographed during NASA's Apollo 8 mission, December 1968. Up here you'll notice the curvature of the moon. Well, that is not the curvature of the moon. I will let you know in a minute what it is. It's just really blow you away. I'm going to show you first few of the anomalies I noticed that made me do some more research on this photo. This worm thing up here and this green thing right here, and then right below we have this also worm looking thing that's standing erect and it's curved over to the side. And let me go over to far right here, and there's another one that is standing erect and also curved. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in to this area right here, being that it's it's overexposed. It's overexposed for a reason. Plus, I know there's images there, so I'll make this quick. So I'm going to go ahead and get the burn tool. If I had the right layer going there, okay. I'm going to go ahead and get the burn tool. I'm going to burn in right here. This is a leg. These are the eyes. It's got a snout. This is another leg, like it's pranced. One's behind, one's forward, like it's moving forward. Move on back. And I believe the tail goes around like this. They live in the Florida swamps. I'm sure you might be able to tell what it is already. It's a crocodile. And there's another image up here. I'm going to give you two. If I can get this one here a little bit better. And this here stands on a tower. We all know about the tower on the moon. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the back of the moon is a porcupine. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use the sharpness tool. These are the eyes. And just give a little sharpness. You see how it's coming in. You use this on different colors, different inversions. Just keep going back and forth until I get the right thing. Some greens and browns and so on. My computer catch up with me. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there and show you exactly what is going on. Okay, the beaked image is right here. We can see the eyes. You're going to see this at the very end of the video. This is very important when you see this one here. But this is my favorite coming up, is the croc. This here is that image right there. You notice how it's pranced forward, one's behind, and the other leg, and you got the tail that runs around to the right. And as a matter of fact, this is the tail right here on the beaked image, on the back right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show it to you big. Let's get that alligator in. Okay, we'll close this off. Now, This thing is just amazing. I mean, look at that, a horned crocodile. This thing's probably 5 miles long. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't find that crater on Google Moon. So, anyways, look at the eyes. I mean, look at the teeth, and look at even got the slime on the snout. You know, I guess the aliens are pretty intricate, huh? I'm going to go ahead and bring up something here that's really important about this image. This is the only image I'm going to do this to, but I found some information about ancient human ancestors faced fearsome horned crocodile. This is new found from 2007, 1.84 million years old. It says it had prominent triangular horns. Well, there we go. It's prominent triangular horns, and it also has a robust head. Well, it's really pretty robust, and you mostly see from the projections behind the eye. Well, that's all good right there. And there's a couple of living species, the Cuban and Siamese, and I checked them out. They're not even close, you know. And they also found a partial skull. Human species, you know, originated in Africa. Our DNA originated in Africa. So, anyways, this is really pretty neat. It really is. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way, and you know, take a look at this image there. See right over here, you see a skull sticking out. Well, they're everywhere. I mean, this is where they live. I mean, let me tell you, you're gonna, you know, you're saying I'm crazy. Wait till you see what's going on. It's really, really a trip. Okay, let's go back to the image here. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these two, and I'll show you one other thing down at the bottom here that made me really want to see what was going on with this image. Come in right here. Okay, this right here, you know, the Statue of Liberty stands on a star pedestal, then has another little pedestal, then of course we've got the, you know, the Queen Liberty. Well, this is pretty much the same thing. This is the pedestal, and there's a man standing here. You can see his arm, and there's a lady standing next to him. This is a man alien and a lady alien. But look what we have here. Okay, there's the eyes, the long neck, the buttocks, and the knees. Well, he's sitting on the pedestal. He has something in his lap. I mean, it looks like an alien to me. You know, I thought about this. I go, oh my God. Okay, I'm on the moon, sitting in the park. I'm looking at an alien pedestal, and what's this alien doing? He's got a bong in his mouth. You know, and what's the matter with me? You know, but this is actually, he has some kind of air respirator. I'm going to show you this to you later. It's really, really pretty neat. Okay, one last thing. I am going to make this image really bright so we can see what's going out there in space, which is really not space. Go there and come on, baby. Oop, wrong direction. Okay, and go on out. This is not space. I mean, look at this. You know, all these little scratch mark things. I thought they were scratch marks, you know, from an old photo or something like that. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. Okay, what I want to show you real quick is this long line that comes, you can see it curved down, comes all the way down, and it comes up to here. Well, this must be a canyon. You know, if it's some kind of a tube or something, well, it is a tube as a matter of fact. Look how it comes across. It comes across again, and then it comes over and down. That's going to really trip you out when I show you what's going on, man. I got some really good close photos of that, and it's just yeah, here we go. Okay, what we're seeing here again is, of course, the original image of the moon. I wanted to show you the cover-ups that I came across real quick. I'll be brief about this real quick. As I was going through my different colors and stuff, I came up with this. And now that would just really amaze me. This lighter part is like a double inversion. You'll notice I don't play with this big crater a whole lot. It's pretty much a pain in the butt. But you know, that means I was getting real close, you know. And along with that, I came across this here. You can tell how it's been blackened out all the way around the edges there. And that happens to be this little black spot right here. And just one more, this one here, where you can tell it's all been cut out, and that is this area right here. That's this here blackened area. Okay, well, enough of that one there. Then as I was coming across the full moon right here, I was looking at this, and I noticed, this is the back side of the moon, by the way. I noticed, See these little lines right in this area? Well, check this out. Now, tell me, there's only one reason for this to happen: for them to shade a lighter shade, a darker shade, and a darker shade. They took the lighter shade out first, then the second shade, then the third shade to darken things up. There's only one reason to do that: is to keep us from seeing what is sticking out of the moon. This is more proof that it's just nothing but a porcupine. All right. Well, I know you're kind of curious about the lines that are on this photo. You might still think they're scratches, but I'm going to go ahead and get in depth with it real quick about what this really is. You can tell, by looking at this image here, that the one from the right stops to the one on the left. And it's just like an intersection would. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in real close to these and show you what it really looks like. At first I thought it was artifacts, but if you take a good look, you can see how it twists and braids throughout it, and it does it all the way up, then it comes into this area here. Zoom out a little bit, and both these got two triangles on top of them. You notice his triangle here and that triangle there. I don't understand what it is. My son thinks it's a couple of triangular UFOs. I don't know, but then we'll come on up here again, and you can see how it twists and braids and continues up. And here's a really good example right here, how it twists and braids all the way up. So the only thing I can think of is a tube, and then it comes I call this the cul-de-sac, and it ends right here. This one here ends right here. This is down on the very bottom right hand of the photo. And this, some of these anomalies come in colored, like this one right up here. It kind of looks like an alien, and I'm not sure, but that's as far as I can get into it to find out what it was. I'm gonna go ahead and show you this one here. This is kind of an avatar. It finds the edges of everything. When you do an avatar of your photo to make a cartoon, it's kind of what it does. It just finds the outlines. Okay, so this is what this here is, the outlines of everything that's on it. This is in the middle of the image, and you notice if you follow along here, this being the freeway, well, look at this. It looks like an off-ramp, and they get the freeways going up where they connect right here. You can tell it stops, and they're just everywhere on the photos. But the thing is, you do not see them when it's light. You only see them in the dark areas. Are they made of crystal? I really don't understand. Yeah, it's quite a mess out there, isn't it? Look at this. Okay, I am going to go ahead and start from what I told you before about coming down, where it curves down, comes across the canyon, and comes on down. Now, and then it kind of disappears on the white spots unless it goes under the ground. I'm not certain at this point, because you don't see. You can see that they're everywhere, only in the dark areas. And then it continues on, and comes on down here, to where you can tell where it stops, and it comes over, and then also comes over this direction, but you can see right here it stops, and we'll come over this direction where you can tell, this one that comes across here, and this tube connection that comes down, right down onto this statue. You can tell where it stops. So obviously they're not scratch marks or anything like that. They're not artifacts, whatever NASA wants to tell us, which is total bull. And see this area right here, I really was intrigued by. Back out one right here. You can tell that's an alien grave skull. I've done so much. These images to me are really easy to see. Probably not for you. And you can tell this other eye is gone because there's a tube coming out of it, and the tube comes up and over and back over to this freeway right here. A freeway. I guess I'll call it that. Yeah, and let me scroll on over here. As you can see, another highway is coming up over this direction. Well, here we go right here. We got another like off-ramp type thing, where it stops and then kind of curves, a little off-ramp right there, and then it seems to me that this one here goes all the way back up, all the way up, and it connects to another freeway, and it just keeps going up, and now we got a mess, but it continues all the way up again, like this one here. So, those must be the long freeways. I wish I knew them scale of this so I could just map it and say, okay, this is how many miles. I'm not certain at this point, but I wanted to get that out of the way. I mean, what do you think? That's my assumption of what it is. Apparently maybe they can breathe in these tubes. This makes it that if the aliens could just appear somewhere and disappear and appear, they wouldn't have to have these tubes and connections and stuff like that. They have, they're like us. They got a vehicle. I don't know what they do in these tubes. I don't know how they travel in them, or what goes on. But it's just really a trip. This right here, this alien, I call it alien gray or reptilian. You can tell that, and there's two tubes that run that direction, and it runs on out. So, anyways, I wanted to get that out of the way real quick, and then I'm going ahead and start showing you some images. Okay, let's imagine for a minute that you're an alien and you want to build a home in the T-Rex subdivision, but it's got to meet certain codes. So you go on down to the building code office and you ask them, okay, what do I need to do? And they said, well, if you're going to build here, it's going to have to look like a different image in every certain direction. Every north, east, south, and west has got to look different. Even a dog in the backyard has to match. Even the tube coming out of it has to look like an image. It'd be pretty difficult to build. What I'm trying to get at is everything's a picture within a picture within a picture within a picture. It's just amazing. I'm going to go ahead and scroll in here to this T-Rex dinosaur, whatever it is, and you see the eye here, nose, mouth. Well, there's a lion, okay, and then right above it, there's this creepy little thing, that's sticking out, and so, as it goes around, if you turn in each direction, it's got to look like a different image, and that's what's really weird. It must take them years to plan this, maybe it doesn't, I'm not sure how they do it either, so really weird. Okay. Here's an image that you briefly seen in the beginning, but you've probably seen this area right here. Well, here's the one over his face, his hands over his face, but this one right here, by taking a look at it, this is eyes, nose, and it's got his mouth open, teeth, and you can tell it's a gorilla. And maybe this right here might be his baby. I got it in a little bit clear, but it's really hard to work with this particular area. Down below, he's got his hand on another creature that's sitting down, obviously, but it's not a gorilla, so I don't know what's going on there. Let me go ahead and try to get the gorilla in a little bit better. You can see some other images that really didn't come in clear. But let's go to the gorilla. Okay, it's not clear here, but I just wanted to show you before and after of kind of what's there. Now you can see his teeth, and he's got his arm wrapped around this lion-like creature, and a few others. So what? There's a little bit of love up there. A little cuddling. It's really strange. I cannot understand the moon at all. I really can't. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and roll on. You've seen that one. I'm going to go ahead and go to the husband. I call this the husband and wife JPEG. The reason why is, on every picture that I bring in, and I know if there's you can tell there's a male, a female, and a boy. Well, male being right here, and the female is always on the right hand side, and the child is always in the middle. Right here we got the eye, nose, mouth. This would be the male. Eye, nose, mouth. This being the female, and the female. If there's a female child, it seems to me that 9 times out of 10, the eye is connected. That they're sharing the same eye. So this here's obviously a girl child. This is really, really close. This is almost street view. One of the closest ones I got. That's why it's not so clear too, but it's pretty freaky. So on the right hand side of God, right hand side, it's kind of strange how that works. Okay, let's move on to. I want to show you a couple of eyes real quick. How intricate they are. It's really amazing. I got these in this good. That's probably a cat eye, but this here eye, I'm speaking with picture within a picture. Maybe a lady's eye, but when you scroll into it, look at what we got here. We got the eye, nose, mouth, and some horns within a circle. So there's another picture within a picture. Okay, I'm going to move on to some cats, and we'll start out with, well, this here picture is probably not a cat. I had to do nothing with this picture. It came in just like it is. You know, usually I have to try to enhance them to bring them in. This being the eye, the nose, mouth, and the ears, and you can tell it's on a tower that comes down. Okay, and we'll bring in Alien 53. You know, this one here really blows my mind. You know, I mean, it's real clear. I don't know if it's a cat. It looks like a cat maybe, but the mouth isn't a cat. And look at these. Looks like a reptilian alligator scale. I'm not sure. That's really a trip, huh? The way that one came in. We'll go to number 23 here. Here's another cat, mountain lion, maybe a cougar. I'm not sure. These being the eyes and come in too clear. I try not to mess with them. You know, if the eyes are bad, they're bad. You know. And let's go to. Oh Lord, where was I here? Okay, here's another one with a baby cat next to it. Again on the right-hand side. You know, so there's a female here somewheres, but you know, I got so many images I just kind of moved on. And his paw is out, and I think he's grabbing a fish at this point. I think that's what it was. And then cat 2. This here is really neat. This is huge. This one here is really huge, about as big as the alligator is. You know, 3 miles long. I'm not sure, but this came in really nice, and really neat. Okay, let's see. Okay, remember those 2 images I showed you that were NASA covers ups that were blacked out? This here is the small one, and I, you know, got it clean. To me, it looks like it's a human. You know, with the eyes, where the eyes are shaped, just being the mouth, it's really hard to see. You know, then of course it has the tube lines that are running, you know, to and fro and in front of it. But I just wanted to show you that real quick. I did finally get that one in, but not very clear. Is it human? You decide. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to this. It's probably some kind of prehistoric bird. That's what I'm thinking. You know, it came in really clear. The eyes right here and everything else in it. The only thing I could get in, I couldn't see any wings or anything, but I could see the front feet. You know, and they were spread out, and they had like 4 or 5 fingers, but it was like web-like. And then, of course, this one up here is another tower with horns on it right above it. And there's just miscellaneous images in here, like this one here and one right below. Kind of odd ones. But this here, I'm just going to call it pterodactyl. I know it's probably not, you know, but I'm going to go ahead and work it with it and go to this here, which is the grid. This is the same bird or serpent. Now take a look, check this out. Out of his mouth comes a tongue, all the way down, and it's a triple forked tongue. I think our snakes are double, you know, and the reason why I know that's true because I have other images that have the same thing. And you know, just possibly it's a bridge because we got more of those tower face things. You know, I guess you can walk on through here or walk on up to the state pterodactyl capital. You know, but these are just miscellaneous images up here. Really kind of hard to see. And at first I wanted to try to bring all the images in like this, but it was just very unclear. You know, as a matter of fact, this one right here is the cat with his paw reached out. I said, getting a fish. Well, here's the fish right here. You know, but it's not very clear. I have it clear another one. And over here, another tower. It looks like an alien lady. I'm not sure. Well, I guess they're all aliens. Okay, let me get out of this one here, and I'm going to move on to a couple miscellaneous ones. This is kind of a weird picture. I thought I'd bring it in. Can't really see the eye because there's tubes in the way, and it's got kind of like a rounded mouth, but almost like a vampire teeth on it. And this one here is just another weird image, pretty ugly if you ask me. Looks like it's smiling though. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to fish. Okay, I had to do a edge find, you know, a avatar to find. This is the crater, as a matter of fact, and I don't mess with the crater a whole lot, but I did manage to find fish in here, so that's how I started in finding all the images I have. This next one is going to be unbelievable, you guys. You know, it just blew me away, the stuff I found. You know, one thing I found. Anyways, let me scroll on in here. Well, we got a dead bird right here, the wings, and probably a shark, a prehistoric shark, I'm thinking right there. I got another shark, I'm going to show you here in a little bit, it's really clear, and another fish. And what's really a trip is this right here. It's a worm. You know, it's like, okay, there's just a hand feeding this dead fish a worm. You know, that's pretty comical of the aliens, you know. We got a crater and let's make it a dry lake and put dead fish in it. But this here, it just blows me away. It's gonna blow you away too. You think I'm crazy? Yeah. Okay. How about a merman and a mermaid? Huh? This just blows me away. I mean, you gotta do the before and after. Let's show you what's going on. Bringing it in and out, and I guess it's got a lion or a lamb. I think it's a lion, and he's trying to grab the lamb. Maybe they're trying to save it from the fish or whatever else is out there, because there's a lot I can't get in. But then I noticed, as I got this one here in, if you look at the back fin, there's another fin right here that's huge. You know, so I'm thinking that, let me scroll in a little bit here. I can see two black eyes and like a mouth right here, and it looks like a crown. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe mom is on top of them, and this here is her fin, and this might be the large fin. That means in here somewhere is the baby. You know, it's kind of goes hand in hand with all these images. But now, isn't that a trip? I know there's legends out. There's legends, but every country has a legend of a mermaid, you know, and a merman. So maybe, you know, maybe they're real. I mean, this just blows me away. It really does. You know. Anyways, let's go on to the next. Okay, here's a group of images. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and turn it back on so you can see the color and without the color. To see that you can see them actually without the color. You know, that's how I got them in. Pay attention to this green one right here, because that's going to be at the end of the video, and that's on the back of the moon. I'm kind of running short on time here. This video's been too long. I'm glad you guys stuck with me, so I'm going to go ahead and try to be quick about this, and you know, if you guys like it, maybe I can do another one, but let me just go ahead and get right with it here. Okay, this here is kind of a tan color, and I wanted to show you was, okay, well, there's the pterodactyl one. There's a face. Here's the snake one right here. Again, I'll get this out of the way. There's the triple tongue coming out. It's kind of a lousy job I did, but this is the eye, the top of the head, and the mouth is open, and the tongue is coming out. And this is where the alligator came from, as a matter of fact. And this is the other tower that was behind the alligator. You can see part of it, which is part of it there. Okay, and I'm going to scroll on out. There's quite a few images here too. Now this, you know, there's dead people laying everywhere, man. I don't have to explain that in a minute, but it's just really terrible. There's just a lot of, you know, faces laying down on the ground. Here's an alien gray, and then there's another face here. I mean, you know, check out these eyes. You know, it's just amazing, the eyes itself. But this one here caught my eye right here. I was looking at the mountain right here. I go, wow, that looks like fingers. And I went on up there and looked. I said, oh my God! So I had to color it in. You know, it's got the eye, the nose, the mouth, and it's just laying there, waiting to be built on, I guess. And over here we have a lady alien. Of course, this is supposed to be space, of course, and that was that one that's sticking up in the very beginning I showed you. Now, there's so many images that I'm going to miss not showing you, you know, and it's going to be kind of a drag, but if you like it, we'll do another one. Okay, let me move on to the next. Okay, this has got like 200 images on it, but we're just going to show. I'm going to show you just the ones that stand out. Okay, here's another tower, kind of an odd one. And, well, here's the human, which I think is human right there. Okay, and now let's go on over to these three images, and they're kind of bundled up together. Kind of weird, aren't they? I'll be showing you this alien here in a second too. That'll be next. And okay, of course, there's the gorilla. Let's move on up to, I think I showed you this king earlier, where he's standing there. He's got his he's sitting there. He's got his arms crossed. He's kind of looking over the canyon. Thinking it's king anyway. I have no idea. Okay, let's move on over to this one. And that's another devil-looking thing. This here creature eats. He's just always eating the the dead things that are laying around. You know, I mean, let me tell you, pretty gruesome. It is pretty gruesome. No wonder why they don't want to show it to us. Okay, moving on up this area here is another group right here, and let's get onto the main one over here. Well, let's see. Yeah, I forget that one. Go on to here, and okay, I'm going to scroll out right here, and I'm going to show you this one here. Move this in here, thing out of the way again. Okay, you know, there's a lot of images within the big image I'm going to show you in a second. You know, like this one, and they got a fish or a snake. It looks like a fish because it stops right there, eating another fish, and looks like that the other fish is eating a duck. You know, it looks like a duck anyway. You know, yeah, pretty odd, huh? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and scroll out and show you the big image here that blew me away. I didn't see it until I was, you know, coloring in until I stopped right here. I'm not coloring in, shading in, you know, trying to get the color to come out. And look at that, a prehistoric fish. Isn't that neat? You know, I couldn't believe it. I go, oh, whoa, because I tried to figure out where that eye came from, you know. And it's got, you know, look at the sharp teeth, you know. And you know, I looked up and researched prehistoric fish, and well, that's pretty much what it looks like, you know. And maybe this tower right here is going to be the top fin. I'm not sure, but that's really a trip. It's huge, you know. No telling how long that is, you know. You know, 50, 60 miles. I have no idea, but that's really neat, isn't it? Fantastic. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this is the first image that I worked with. This was the bottom right-hand corner of the main image. This is an alien I spoke to you. This being his eyes. He's sitting down. He's sitting down on the pedestal, which is right here in the background, and this being the man alien, the lady alien, and right here there's a baby. I know this because I've, you know, been into the thing so much to try to clear it up. It's just been, it's hard. It's very hard. And then, you know, there's three little boy aliens and maybe a girl alien in the back right there that are like peering into the camera. It's odd that it happened that way, you know. And then there's a lady alien in the middle, and yes, they have breast. You know, the reason why I know this is because of the Find Edge tool and the, you know, the avatar. As I've released this right here, you can see right there. That's the edges. You know, that's the edges, and you can see this little thing he's holding here, which is probably an air respirator. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom on in here, and you can see how this works. It's, you know, there's the edges right there. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and zoom on out. And right in this area right here, I got all the way down to street view, and it's really a trip. So let me go ahead and do that real quick, which is right here. Now this is all the way down, and you can see that. Here, let me go ahead and put the color there on right there. Okay, look at this, you know. So this is probably some kind of a creature up here in his eyes, you know, and all these windows, and then it's got this little tower. This might be the alien courthouse or something, and it's got a little overhang right there, and then all these lights and windows all the way around, you know. And then of course here we go with a picture within a picture again, because these images are on there, and this one here also. Let me go ahead and get rid of the color so you can see it's there, and then come back, and that's probably a snake. But now we're seeing the Find Edge tool, but we're seeing all the way in, so this is interest going in, you know. And then on the top, you know, it's got some kind of a beacon, and then a couple aliens on the top. I mean, that's all the way down to street view, you know. It's really a trip that I got that far using that Edge tool, you know, and working it. So that was really a trip. I mean, this photo right here, I just wish I could get in clearer, but you know, it is what it is right now. And the dog, I'm not sure about the dog, you know. As I do the Find Edge avatar, you know, I couldn't, you know, that I can't be for sure, but you know, the rest I'm positive on, you know. So this is kind of the family photo, I suppose, but it is really a trip. On to the next. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finalize this by showing you a picture of Mars. You can find this picture just by searching Mars and photos. That's how I came across it. But if you notice up here on this image right here, it's, you know, looks like it has a set of eyes, and it's got a tower, and to me it looks like it shouldn't be there. You know, if you stand back and look at it, well, to me it looks like what we've been looking at the moon. You know, the same kind of features and everything else. But what really got me is I was looking at this, all these black spots in this area. You know, to me it looks like a cover up. I don't understand why it's there. If you notice, there's big black blotches, excuse me, and then there's like a little leg off to the left on a lot of these, you know, leg off to the left, leg off to the left, leg off to the left. You don't see it to the right. So I decided to take the dodge tool and uncover one of these and see what it was all about. And go ahead and lighten this up a little bit. And looks like a set of eyes, you know. I mean, all of them is going to have the same thing, you know, one right beside the other. And I'll lighten up the top here a little bit. And I'll go ahead and throw the sharpness tool on it to sharpen it up a little bit. My computer will catch up to me again. Okay, and you know, it's got that green hue to it, and to me it looks like an image, you know. So you know, it's very possible that Mars has the same thing, you know. It's very, very possible. Okay, this is the back side of the moon, of course, and I just wanted to scroll in real quick and we'll finish this video up for you. You know, if you take a good look, like, let me scroll in here, you see right in here, this area, and then you see a long line below it. Well, there's a tower. You know, it's right in front of our faces. This here, it's probably an alien head, and you can see the tower going below it, and it has a round thing. And also with this one right here, you know, this. So, you know, it's right in front of our faces, you know, if we take a good look, and especially right here. I'm going to show that to you right now as a comparison to the one of my photos. Okay, the one on this one on the left-hand side, forget about that one, but take a look at the one on the right. You remember seeing this statue, this tower thing previously. Okay, now you take a look at the eye, and to the right here, you see another little lighter colored blotch. Well, we have the same thing. And you got the eye, look up here, you got these two, and so does this. Okay, now if you look at the whole image in general, you notice that from this eye over, there's a lot more. Let's call it hair or whatever, you know. And if you look over here, from this eye over, it's got more hair, you know, whatever you're gonna call it, more, you know, more of the features. So to me, in the beak, you know, this is identical, almost identical. You know, and so it's right in front of our faces. This is, and there are a lot of other things that are on the back of this moon are there, and we think it's just, you know, a coincidence. I don't think so. It's not a coincidence. It just, there is no way. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring you in with this here. Now, this is one of the images that NASA has put out, a bunch of images of the galaxies recently. Well, this is one of the images that I pulled up, and this is an image right here that is on one of the new NASA images. To me, you know, if you scroll in here, you see this triangular area here and this triangular area here. That looks the same. The eyes look the same, and this is kind of the flesh eater. This is a flesh eater on the moon, and it eats the flesh. You know, I'm going to explain that to you in a second. You know, and this is one of the photos. This is one of the remakes that they did, and here is this image right here. You know, take a good look at this image here. It's really strange, and this is amazing new photos from NASA. You know, and there's just all kinds of them. You know, these are fakes. You know, straight up they're fakes. They're not real. You know, and if you want to check them out, that was on BuzzFeed.com. But you know, there is no way that these are real. You know, so I'm just going to go out by saying, hey, you know, it's right in front of our faces. It really is, and we need to be told about this. And it's sad that you know I found myself the images, the dead images that are laying around, and with the flesh eaters eating flesh out of them. You know, I found myself not wanting to show all those because they're so gruesome, they're so morbid. You know. And so there's a lot of really freaky things on the moon. So, you know, maybe that's one of the reasons why NASA is covering up, because it is morbid. It's really pretty sick in a lot of the areas. And a lot of them, you know, are funny, and then some of them are just kind of weird, you know. So you guys make up your own mind. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was long. I apologize for that. But y'all make up your own mind, and this is all for real. Y'all take care.
today's announcement of a really fascinating result about current water on Mars is one of the reasons why I feel it's even more imperative that we send astrobiologists and planetary scientists to Mars to explore the question of, is there current life on Mars? From the Curiosity rover, we now know that Mars once was a planet very much like Earth, with warm, salty seas, with freshwater lakes, probably snow-capped peaks and clouds and a water cycle, just like we're studying here on Earth with our Earth science satellites, the water cycle here on Earth. But something has happened to Mars. It lost its water. But we still have, in the atmosphere and on the surface, for the most part, but we still have this question of, did life arise on Mars once, and can we find out?
Mars suffered a major climate change and lost its surface water. Today, we're revolutionizing our understanding of this planet. Our rovers are finding that there's a lot more humidity in the air than we ever imagined. As we ingest the soils, they're moist, they're hydrated, full of water. These discoveries are very important, but they were only part of the hydrological cycle on Mars that we're just now beginning to understand. What we're going to announce today is that Mars is not the dry, arid planet that we thought of in the past. Today we're going to announce that under certain circumstances, liquid water has been found on Mars.